Welcome to this second class of the channeling training. I have my poncho here for this class, and now you will know why. I am about to start as well this ritual of mate, and this class is especially about rituals because for channeling as a ritual of connection, we need to decode what is our ritual through we are connecting to ourselves and life. And we all do rituals. As we talked in the first class, we are all the time doing rituals, and life itself has a sequence of rituals and ceremonies that we are ongoing and navigating through. So this class is a biopsy, like a de-codification of rituals. Maybe the poncho needs a little bit more explanation. I believe that the gracia, what's something that is funny and gracious, is a indicator of sacredness. So that's why I decided to use this poncho that will bring us fun and make this more graceful. Starting with where I am now, this is as a mate. We can just take it as a mate, right? Just like, okay, I will take mate because I want to be more awake, because I am in the siesta of Argentina. Okay, that can be a paradigm or a framework that many people would just operate on that. It's like, okay, I just feel like taking a mate. That's why I'm taking a mate. And there's like a connection between what you want or why you're doing it and the effect of it. So, just to show a different approach, this initiatic approach that is a step zero of consciousness on what is embedded in here. First, this mate, the recipient, the vessel, is a Palo Santo mate, so it's like, oh, it's different. The taste, I bought it from a family that was doing it handmade, so it's not just any mate. And I have been loading it for 5 years, so it has all the impregnations of all the rituals I have done with it, all the people I share, all the moments, so it's there, imprinted. This bombilla is from Uritorco, my Apu, my sacred mountain. I go and I bought it there in the last Inca path. At the beginning, I said, okay, I need a bombilla that doesn't burn my lips. That can be some effect that I want, but it's different to have a deeper meaning when we are drinking from that essence of that place. I have a piece of that essence of that place. Make sense? And now, for example, I will direct it into a function. Direct the focus that I need for doing this class, because I understand that it also has contrary points, that it can make me very hyperactive, the ritual of mate. So when we start developing this sensitivity to the meaning, sensitivity to the effects, and our why, our focus, why we're doing it, the rituals start having much more power. We are not just drinking a mate. I am drinking the essence of the voice of the great woman when we heal it, while the support of my Apu, the sacred mountain here in Argentina, plus the rosemary that I just asked permission to the plant, where I seeded the Merlin sword for the full moon, and you get it, right? So this will help me with the focus. And that process that I'm outputting is very internal. Each of us know. Just we need this awareness, this step zero, that when we do it and we revise, or not so much analysis, but say, okay, why I'm doing this and what I'm doing it for, it starts revealing some things about us. And that's the decodification of the ritual. Here we start. Salud entra en mí. That's also a ritual. Wishing health or cheers, cheer up, spirits up. Rituals. We have taught that rituals give us meaning and they have a function. And they have to be functional to what we want, to who we are and our way of life. That's what they help us discover. And there's a component that we didn't talk about, was about sacredness. When we do a ritual and we enter intentionally, willingly to the ritual, we say, okay, I will do a ritual. You can read from that as the consciousness feedback loop. What do you value? What do you value? What is also your hierarchy of values? What is your focus and your priorities? Basically, sacredness, something is more sacred than another because we are giving more importance and more focus on certain things. That's what is sacred. Like when we say this is more important than the other things, that's why we highlight it by sacredness. The spectrum and the focus that we can have on what is very important for us will be revealed by the rituals we do, and even which protocols or which parts of the rituals we like more or we put more emphasis in. And as well, it will reveal our needs. The needs, because we give more importance to certain things because of our needs. We have wounds and needs in our humanity that we just need to integrate as well. So, and recognize that they can have an effect on what we consider important, we prioritize. But once we see the values, the scale or the hierarchy of our values, we will realize which needs we have. And this part of the needs, that I know that can be can be uncomfortable, and the ego won't like to acknowledge the needs. Otherwise, if we know which needs we have, if we know that sacred is what we are defining as sacred, the ego loses a lot of power. And that's why we have the initiatic approach on this. The ego would like us to know, no, I don't have needs, I'm abundant, yes. But we can be in denial, and that can prevent us from knowing ourselves more and what are our terms of satisfaction. I won't spoil much yet. Let's go. Meaning. This is a common need that we have too. This need takes us to meaning as an existential need that we have here. It's the frame through which we process reality. The meaning is the frame through which we process reality. Through the logical connections between the elements and the symbols, the signs, the significance, the signifiers that generate those meanings. So this will be important in channeling because we are processing information and we are aware of our meaning-creating machine from the neuropsychology that we understand. We are processing this reality or different realms or expanded reality to bring it down through logical connections. We have to have logic and the connectivity, how things connect between themselves. So that is part of meaning, how we order and frame this information through logical connections to have an interpretation of reality. And last component that we see today of rituals is functionality. If it functions or not, if it works or not? How do we see that? Through the effects, the outcome in the reality that we can see it, are the ones that we want. So for that, we check them through our satisfaction terms of our status. What status, what satisfaction terms, those are two things inside the S. This S is satisfaction terms that will lead us to know ourselves better, and the status, that is the densified state. The status is the surrounding, the sphere, the situation around that is encompassing my reality, or how I put myself, or the place, because the status comes as well from strategy. If I am using a strategy to arrive to a state densified, it's like a situation that I want to arrive. Is this feeling it? And this is needs. This is the satisfaction terms of my needs. And I have some things that I want, desires, some hungers. These hungers can be different, like can be for transcendence, can be hunger for contribution, can be hunger for connection. So when we know that, and we honor these needs, and we know the satisfaction terms, and we see the effects, we know if this is working. Make sense so far? Let's go into sacredness. So sacredness and respect for what you do and are cannot be pretended, or if pretended, is not sustainable. You can emulate or pretend for a while that something is sacred, or that you respect yourself or you respect someone, but that is not going to last if it's not authentic. So be more available to discover your authenticity and what is really sacred to you. Not that you had to make something sacred because someone said that that is sacred, or someone told you that you have to respect something. No, that's not how respect or sacredness work. If you don't really respect something, that's not on command. In the initiatic cultures, we work on getting empty from what the others pushed inside of what is sacred, what we should do, what we should respect. And that's not sustainable. So, in this initiatic approach, we look for understanding what is real sacred for us, what we do really respect, beyond what others or ourselves, like the lowercase selves, are making us believe. And why this is so crucial to detect that this is the first point we are starting, and I don't want to move forward into something bigger with not detecting this, because we have to clear all the time from this. That's why we do step 0 of consciousness, to clear us from this one. I won't even name it, but you know, the lowercase self, this one doesn't want to be discovered. So we think that we are doing important things because they told us that those were important things. Because this one is telling us that we should do that because blah, blah, blah. But we didn't check that frame, if it's working for us, if it's really sacred for us. So we are authentically declaring what is sacred for us because we decided consciously, or we can be deceived by ourselves. We can be deceiving ourselves or deceived by ourselves. Most of people are in automatic patterns like that and doing things that work for this guy, but not for themselves by decision, their anointed selves, their own heroic selves. Following this leads to a meaningless life. So this seek of sacredness through consciousness help us to lead ourselves to meaning. And now we go into meaning. Meaning is this interconnectivity that we are constantly doing in why something happens and why it's happening for. So we start making the meaning creation for understanding the causality of things. This will generate a sense making sense of our reality, of our world. So I want to highlight this step that is where many people get stuck and can be maddening itself. I've been personally there when in the step 4 of the hero's way we start reading and looking for meaning and reading the signs, even having signals, and we are like this constant antenna, but we don't have a strong meaning creation machine or awareness of that. So in this look for sense making, we start becoming a science follower, a follower of science. It's like everything has a magical synchronicity, and this a butterfly, and this is numbers, and this happens just, and we get stuck in wonder. It's just like a trap. It's a trap that most people get stuck, and that can be dysfunctional. That's why I bring it up. These signal followers being led by just signs that if we have not cleared that the ego may be putting that sign, if we don't have clear that we are making meaning of those signs, if we are not clearing what are those signs functional for, we can get stuck in that step. So when we have this interconnectivity, we create the causality between the elements to make sense of our reality. This reality that we perceive through this frame can help us to lead ourselves and sculpt our status. And status, in the meaning of densified state or densified situation, that help us to have a state. When we have a status, a situation encompassing ourselves, or we have the, let's say, I will bring it very philosophical, our personal truth. As the Greek says, the aletheia, we can build the status that we perceive that we are ourselves in. We are in. So we start building our reality through this meaning creation, and this is a tool which we are going to live and weave the sculpting of this reality. Make sense? I will do an extra clarification here. The next step after the step 4 is a reality check with the universe that will help us to match if we are understanding, if we are having a proper signal to pass, to manifest, to keep going with our path. So that on the heroic way. And if you want to strengthen your oracling capacity of reading the signs, as all the ones in the lineage of the Akashic Records consultants, we need to understand this causality and the laws of karma. That's why when we go deeper into the service of channeling from higher, like records of the universe or Akashic Records of planets, places, or even families. We understand dynamics because we have an improved, a nuanced meaning and interconnectivity of this karma and how we arrive to this situation. Make sense? So that's a clarification for the lineage members and the ones who want to go deeper into this practice. Before we keep going to functionality, I want to highlight that meaning is a great tool when it's used initiatically to discover where we are placed. Is a device that can reveal the frame or the paradigm that we may be trapped into, so we can improve the paradigm or the frame. So we use the meaning creating machine over the meaning creating machine to improve it. So it's like why I'm connecting things this way. And that's why in the initiatic approach we access with consciousness first to begin, to initiate, not begin, to initiate with the constant evolution awareness and to not be trapped in a frame that can reduce our reality. That's why we put this emphasis, because again, if we are using this to be a signal follower, we can be trapped in a paradigm or inside a signal or in a lesser entity that can be broadcasting something. So we can be trapped listening to a lesser God, let's say. That we think that something is God, but it's just ET with a little bit more intelligence, or some being from 4th dimension. So that happens a lot. People are like praying something as it's God, but it's something with a little bit more intelligence. So that, to not get trapped on that and have more self-respect and sacredness and constant improvement of the meaning creating machine and consciousness expansion. Yes, that's for understanding a broader spectrum of interconnectivity. With the power of mate, we keep going. Functionality of the rituals. Okay, there's a concept of the systemic approach that I will bring. We will approach the efficiency first as the effect that we want with our ritual, divided or considering the satisfaction of our needs. Satisfaction of our needs, or the terms of satisfaction. When is satisfactory the effect that we want? So then we can measure the efficiency. And the effectiveness, we can put it when we know the resources. We also divide this by the resources we have. So resources as time, energy that we put. Sometimes we forget that. It's like, oh yes, for free. No, you put a lot of time. Even when I do a reading, is okay, sometimes I cannot do 2 or 3 readings in a row because one reading took me a lot of energy. It's a lot of resources that I put there. With this I can reframe, if it's working for me, the amount of energy that I'm putting, and I can work on it or make it work for me. So this starts being more effective. What I'm looking, the satisfaction terms, the output that I want. So it's like the systemic approach that we can improve our framework. Okay, so far so good. For the ones in the consulting of the Akashic Records, what are our satisfaction terms? We had a measure. When we do the training, we have a measure. It's like, okay, which is the measures that we put for a high quality reading, and when we are satisfied, And how much time? Many of you ask me how much time is the reading, and many of you have shaped different times and ways to make the channeling according to what works for you. And also for the ones who have level 2, for the reading of other persons. What the satisfaction terms of other persons. What do they need, and what is efficient in the service and what comes through and the usage of our instrument. Next time we are going to see how to build up more resource in our practice. In the next video of the practice, we build up a crucial resource that will help us on manifestation, improving the spectrum of our channel and the quality of our output. So this effect, this output, will help us to have the feedback on what comes when I do certain things. In here we can discover of ourselves my what force and how you get satisfied. And I highlight you. You know why? Because our friend, the other lowercase self, can use this in function. It can be serving the ego. This can be serving the ego. So that's why we work so much on clearing of the frameworks that are not ours and are not functional or not satisfying ourselves. Ego is super scared of us being satisfied, you know, and in peace, and you know, like, and knowing our needs and how to satisfy them and save us a lot of suffering. So, because if there's no suffering, there's no drama, so the ego doesn't get fed. So we know what we are doing, the things, we know the effect, and if we get satisfied with that. And with that, we know if it's working for me, if it's working for our self, like the higher case self. I will share a story of the framework and how the improvement of the framework through the Akashic Records initiation has been life-changing. It reframed myself and my way of channeling. Because before I was like more into mediumship or channeling, yes, like talking with other beings, but didn't have a good framework, like a very strong framework that helped me to make the terms, set some terms, and also feel supported by a lineage. That's very different way of channeling. So the initiation in Akashic Records upgraded my channeling and my life in many ways, because it's different. It's a different entrance. That's why we do initiations. You enter differently into the conversation. You have more power over the frame that is going to be as an interface, and you can receive the messages as if they're putting in the inbox and not just overtaking, and they have any beings sending you messages whenever they want because you are like just a channel. No, or like a medium, yes, a conduit. No, you have a framework, and that has been the best framework that is working for me and many persons of the lineage in the best way. And here we nurture some virtues and codes to have a better order in our personal development, and the virtues that help us open doors to another realms. So we know when we have these terms of higher satisfaction that we can always aspire and improve as persons and as beings, these things that are going to be not only in this life, because we see the many records and the many soul path, the many soul incarnations and the path. So we know virtues and gifts that we are feeding through the understanding of this, if this is working into a higher level. Depending on the level and our development or what we need in our life or where we are in our life, will change our channeling framework. So that's why we can have, for example, the first exercise we did, like muscle testing, pendulum, whatever, oracle cards. If that's satisfactory for you and it's working, awesome. Depending on what you want, sometimes it's like working for a lower level. When you want to upgrade the level of, okay, I want to have a higher overview than just what to do now with this. You can have the counsel to have a direction of our life, and not only of our life, is of our souls. So that depends on where we are in our path. This of the records usually resonates with people that have a lot of personal development, and even the level 2 is persons who do service as therapies, and they need to exchange records to not only learn from their life experience, but from many other prismas or many reflections. So knowing that the correspondence of our level is crucial. It's like I had many records, Akashic Records openings before getting initiated, and was like opening the path a lot. But I couldn't hold the responsibility of doing it myself at the beginning. So there's a correspondence of the timing, the tool, and then I got the initiation. I was like, okay, I need this higher framework, this higher counsel, and I understand better the path of souls, and I can lead my dharma. Okay, that's experience of what has been working for me, and checking the correspondence of what is our level, and you know, like knowing the terms of satisfaction for our moment. I will do this extra empowerment of our rituals just because we are having the initiatic approach, and this consideration will improve every ritual that we do. There's a concept in shamanism that is munai, that is the conjunction of our intent, our love, and our power. There's also the sacred trinity, or the triple flame, that is also the infusion of our divine intelligence, divine love, and divine power. So I will start with intent and intelligence and will. We put it in this column because the intelligence, by definition, from the etymology of the word, interligie, in between the lines I can choose, elect, ligie. It's different. Intellect is I can read the lines, and puedo elegir too. I can choose, election. So when my will, when my intent has a wider spectrum of choices, I am accessing to my intelligence. So this is my decision. I can see the broad spectrum of choices, and I decide. It's like this is my elections, and not the ego doing automatic responses. To clear our intent, our will, this is the work we do in the initiatic ways all the time. Is this my intent? Is this who is moving your tongue? As the Buddha, that's initiatic. Is who is moving my tongue? Who is moving my actions? My divine will. Love. And this is also, we can see in the manifestation and law of attraction and all that stuff, that they work on this, is feeling how we feel about the result, what we are doing. So in here, as we already put the intent, our intelligence, the consciousness that is required to choose, we are not victims of, I feel a sensation, or feelings just don't happen to me. I choose what I feel. This is the initiatic approach. It's not just feelings are random. No, you choose how you want to feel. And that's when you have the steering wheel of what your emotional state is manifesting, of your instrument. Is an emotion also. You have a wide spectrum of emotions that you can ignite. So, when you see which emotion is available for you to feel and to embody, so you are broadcasting it, because the universe talks by vibration, and the emotional vibration is a language itself, is the sustain of the communication. So this ignited emotion that I am embodying, feeling it, while I'm doing the ritual, we infuse that emotion that we ignite, and we impregnating what we are doing with our emotionality, with our intent, and with our power. And this is, to put it simple, the influence over reality. How we can communicate with the universe, and if it's the universe is responding and manifesting it into more dense realms. So we're just going to approach the term of pistis. That is the spiritual credit that we have in this interaction with the universe to manifest reality. So, in the initiatic ways and the rituals that we do in our life, we are all the time building up spiritual credit. So we can inform the universe of what is our reality, inform of what do we want to happen, is how reality is going to be. And this is a framework for empowering our rituals. This is different. The concept as pistis is translated as, I have faith that this is going to work. Have faith. If you believe it's going to work. If you have hope, I hope that this works. I won't go in deep into this. I'm tempted to go into how the Babylonians took away our power. This like with this, I hope and I will stay waiting that this happens because my wishful thinking. No, the universe does not take wishful thinking. In fact, if you wish something so much and it's the ego that is obsessed by something, doesn't give it to you because the universe reads it as obsession. So it's not good for you. So it's not happening. Except that you want the lesson and he will give it to you in a doses so you get the lesson that you want. It's not wishful thinking, the spiritual credit. The spiritual credit is what we build through our rituals of power. And this is the approach that I wanted to give so we can embody and inform our reality. We embody our feeling, our real will, our real feeling, and informing our reality. To finish with a framework, channeling is a ritual of connection with ourselves, with our higher selves, with other realms. Something is going through us. So I will bring 3 anecdotes and parts that are important for the channeling ritual. First, I don't know if you can read there, it says clearing. Super important to have our clearing of the channel. That's part of the maintenance. Keeping us clear from influences. As we talk, the ego can be there, showing in different ways, ideas, programs that are being projected, energetic parasites that are leaching from our energies and emotions. So we feel tired and reduce our signal and want to shut down. So this clearing is very important, and I do many rituals for clearing, and our lineage has many many tools to do those clearings of the channel. For example, sometimes have to pass a soul through me, or sometimes I get attachments of souls that get inside of me, and I was unaware, or sometimes I lowered the vibration and they got in there. Or in the galactic portals, as the last portal that happened, suddenly I felt dizzy, and then I said, okay, my body started saying, you have to do something with this. I was like not taking care of it, so I had to do the clearing. And I was in the grass, letting nature refill me, and suddenly I started feeling soul coming through me that was feeling very disoriented, that wanted to go through, and by resonance came through me to lead, because I was teaching how to die, and there was a soul that didn't die well, let's say, so you can help me. And I got the lesson as well of how it felt to die. Sometimes it's not that comfortable, but was a reflection that we had mutually with that soul, and I needed to let it pass, and I cleared myself from that lost soul. I asked assistance on the clearing. I had some tools to let it pass. That is a very important consideration for our channeling. Even beginning each channeling, we do a clearing. Second consideration, being tuned with our emotion, being tuned with what is about to happen, being tuned with what I am engaging with. This happens in a lot of the Akashic Records openings I do. It's like my body starts having a preview, and sometimes I feel like, woo, let's do it, and I feel like enthusiastic for connecting with that soul and the masters and guides of that person, because there's something that ignites me. So I get tuned by my emotional state, and it's a way of engagement and committing to that vibration. So getting in tune emotionally, mainly emotionally, and with the focus, and the focus will be helped a lot with the clearing of the distortions and things that are not ours. And last consideration, the knowing. There's the knowingness that we come from a place of power, and it's very different to have every now and then some intuition that sometimes I follow and sometimes I don't follow. You have seen in the Hero's Way, when we work on this quadrant of sometimes yes, sometimes no, I don't know if I follow my intuition, and that is kind of a lack of trust in yourself, lack of trust in the universe, because sometimes you follow it, sometimes you don't. So it's not really knowing where you're standing. It's like not knowing really where you're going, not knowing the map of your life. It's like you can have a compass, but being lost anyway. So knowing where you're going, knowing your intention, knowing your capacities, or at least be interested in wanting to know it. This one off sometimes works, sometimes not. I have seen recently a movie that, and this is a normal scenario of claiming, give me a sign, God, like this, trying to force the conversation and give me a sign. It's like, what have I done that you don't answer me? Why are you silent with me? And this lack of awareness and lack of understanding where you're placed, not knowing where you're placed, that you can kind of force and tell me what I want to know and give me a sign, when the person has not credit and is coming from a place of resentment and pain and feeling abandoned by God. That happens a lot. That happens. Many people stop having faith in that works, or stop believing that it works because it's not working for them, because they are not even interested in knowing how it works. I saw it in Cain, the Cain and Abel story in Noah, that was like, I will do whatever I want, and the world has to work as I say. No, it's like you have to engage in a communication with the universe. Cleared of toxic patterns or egoic patterns that are kind of wimpy and wishful thinking, that I want it to work this way, and don't want to engage into knowing how it works. Just like kind of Cain was like, I am also son of God, I have the power. It's like, no, that doesn't work like that. You have to behave and be as, not just because you say it. So it's a matter as well of coherence. And when you are in that coherence, you know, you just don't hope it works or claim that because you are entitled. No, you act accordingly. You are into the coherence of the universe. Okay, this is all for this class. It was intense. I know it's a lot of theory. Just have your questions for our next class, and we will keep working. And if you want this extra class on rituals, on improving all the other rituals, we can have it. We are going to practice on the rituals that build up this spiritual credit to improve our channeling. The other extra class will be empowering our reality sculpting with the light frequencies, the spells, many of the things that we have seen in Merlin's training. And well, see you next class, and thank you for being here.